Good evening. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Transformation Tuesday. I'm going to wait for a couple of people to jump on. Hello. Happy Tuesday. How good is this? We get to rock out live, broadcasting our message to the world, helping business people and entrepreneurs just rock out and dominate life, doing what they love. And that's the topic for tonight's live. Hey, as you guys jumping on, give us a shout out. I hope you guys are doing really well. Just here fiddling with my Facebook live settings. Make sure I get your comments coming up, guys. If you're there, give us a shout out, guys. I've got some great questions that I'm going to be diving deep into. Hey Dora, how you doing? Tonight's topic, for those of you on the replay, is how do we get even better? How do we get even more masterful at what we do as our craft and at what we do for a living? Hey Dora, hey Karen, how you doing, legends? How do we become even more masterful at what we do so that we can earn more money, make more impact, and do it more successfully? That's my biggest passion, my hobby, my obsession in life is how do we become even more excellent at what we do so we can add more value? So that's the topic of tonight's Facebook Live. So I'm going to dive deep into if you're striving to do that or if you're wanting to do that to a deeper level. That's what tonight's all about. I've got some great questions from people throughout earlier this week. So I'm going to endeavor to answer all of those questions and going to give you a deep dive on how do we become truly professional, truly elite at what we're doing as a career or as a business. So I'm going to dive straight into it, guys, and add a heap of value to you tonight. And if you've got questions, hey Shelley, if you've got any questions, please drop them in the comments box and I'll do my best to answer them for you guys. We've got about half an hour. And in that half an hour, I want to cover some of the major pillars of business growth, business success, and professional success. So please, if you've got questions, drop them in because this is your opportunity to get the download. So first of all, let's start by saying, well, what is important when it comes to business success? What's important when we're striving to do what we love and we're striving to get paid for it and we're striving to add as much value as we can to our clients, our customers. So what we need to consider is a variety of factors. Now, what I've done is I've broken it down to 5 factors that we need to consider. Now, this is going to give you 5 of the major pillars. Hey, Lauren, good to see you there. This is going to give you 5. Hey, John. This is going to give you 5 major pillars of what's required to live your dream, to do what you love and get paid for it, and to do it well. Now, when we master these 5 pillars, business success goes to a whole nother level. Hey, Deb. Good to see you there. Now, the first of these I'm just going to give you the 5 major pillars. Now, here they are in order. We've got passion, we've got skill, we've now got strategy, we've got relationships, and we've got self-belief. So I've done my best to narrow it down to what I believe is the 5 most critical pillars of importance when we consider doing what we love and getting paid for it. So for anyone out there that's striving to find their one thing, the thing in life that they were born to do, the thing that you want to, let's face it, we spend the vast majority of our life working. So we may as well be working in a job or a business or a career doing something that we love. So for those of you that are wanting to do that to a greater degree, I'm going to go through and unpack these 5 major pillars for you right now. Now, the first of those is passion. Now, I don't care what anyone says. If you don't have passion for what you're doing, it's an uphill battle, right? So the major clue straight away is if you're not passionate about what you do, you've got to change something. So it's either pick something different or start to recognize how you can cultivate passion for what you're doing. Now, I realize there's maybe some people here in a business or a job right now that they don't particularly like. And look, I feel for you. I do believe that every single one of us on the face of the planet has something that they resonate with. Something, if you like, that I refer to it as your vocational calling. So I believe every single person on the planet has their vocational calling, which is what's their one thing or multiple things that they love, that they're so enthusiastic and passionate about, which when they do that, they bring light, they bring joy, they just bring that with all they've got, and they can make an incredible difference in the world. So first step is to recognize, well, what are you truly passionate about? Now, when you access that, when you're in your genius zone, when you're in your flow, when you're just being you, doing what you love, and I'm keen to hear for you guys that are watching How many of you guys have you discovered that? Have you found either your one thing, or what's that thing that you love most more than anything else? And when you access that, it's like you're not actually working in a job. It's like literally time just flies. Hey Deb, you love your job. Yeah, I love that. It's not actually like a job. So for me, for example, what I do is not actually like a job. I get to just talk to awesome people all day long, help with them grow their businesses, help with them unpack their life's greatest problems. And for me, this is bliss. This is epic. This is heaven on earth for me. Hey Tom, good to see you here, brother. Hey Karen. Yeah, 10,000%. Love it. Love this. Still looking for it. Yeah, hey Dora, how you doing? Yeah, and that's my other message, is for those of you that are still searching for your passion, if you're still searching for what's that one thing, and look, I call it your one thing, or the thing you were born to do. Now, in reality, we might have multiple things that we're here to do, and I believe that most of us, there are many things that all of us could do. I suggest we start by honing in what's that thing that gives us the most amount of juice? What's that thing that just lights us up more than anything else? Now, for me, it's the combination of business and life mastery. So it's the combination of how do we master our life, and then how do we plug in our biggest passion for business. So for me, and this is the thing, I think there's a clue here for everyone. And this is the thing, I like to think that all of our lives are the greatest love story ever told. Everything that's happening in our life is leading us up to this point in life now, where we have like the perfect, absolutely the most perfect combination of sequences of events that have led us to this point in life right now, which is absolutely perfect. Because everything that we've been through, all the tragedy, all the trials, all the tribulations, all the stress, all the joys, all the highs, all the lows, all of that has given us everything that we are now, which has given us the resources that we need to access the next level of our life. So, for those of you that might have been working in a job that you don't particularly like I used to be, that I recognize gave me an incredible amount of skill and ability and talent, not necessarily applicable in all areas, but I certainly learned from that experience, and I was now able to apply it in a different area. So for those of you that might be pursuing something, and you maybe spent a period of your time or period of your professional working life doing something you don't particularly resonate with, then there's a blessing in that, because it's giving you clarity about what you do want to do, and it's also contributing because there'll be skills that you can apply to multiple different areas in life. So it's cross-contextual. You can apply those to many different areas. Anyway, that now ties into the second pillar, which is skill. So once you've accessed the first component, which is passion, and you know what you're passionate about, and again, I just want to touch on that, because if you're doing something you're not passionate about, as I said before, I don't care how good you're going to be at it. If you're not passionate about something, it's not for you. It's not the right thing. You're on the wrong path. And life is going to give us it's going to give us action signals. So you're going to know if you're on the right track, because your environment, your career, your passion, your mission, it's got to light you up. It's got to create enthusiasm. It's got to create a sense of aliveness or mission or purpose. Otherwise, what the fuck are we doing it for, right? As I said, we spend so much of our lives in a job. Why not spend all that time in a job that we love and get paid for it? Now, we live in the year 2018, where there's never been a better time in the history of humanity to do what you love and get paid for it and make a meaningful difference in the world. So I don't know about you guys, but for so many years, I was in a job that paid well, and I was kind of good at it. So I had the money, I had skill in it, but there was no meaning there, right? Now, if you're doing something in life that has no meaning, what's the point? Like, life is about meaning. Life is about the meaning that we bring to our experiences. So again, when I say passion, insert some sort of care factor for what we're doing. You actually care about what you're bringing. So number one is passion. Now, number two is skill. Now, this is the thing. We need both passion and skill, because you can love something. You can be incredibly passionate about something, but if you've got no skill at it, then I've got news for you. It's going to be a challenge, because we need to be able to serve. We need to be able to contribute. We need to be able to use that skill set to actually make a difference to solve a problem. Hey, Lauren. So my story, I'd list passion in my job. Tell me a little bit more about what you mean by that, Lauren. I'm keen to know more about your story. So we need to have both the skill and the passion. Now, one without the other it's like the combination lock doesn't open. Lost. Oh, you lost your passion. I got it. Yeah. So look, this is the thing. Our values, and what you might be experiencing there is your values shifting. You know, as you go through a transition period in your life, things start to change. Your belief systems, your values, which are your core values, which are the things that are important. We go through transitional phases. Now, that happens to all of us. So yes, you can lose your passion for something because we evolve. And that's then about finding out, well, how is our value shifting? We might get bored of something. It no longer sustains us. It doesn't have the same level of meaning. So this search for our passion, this search for what's meaningful for us, it's an ongoing journey. But it's well worth the trip. Now, just touching on the skill, as I said, we need a particular skill set. We need to be excellent. We need to have standards of excellence. We need to have a skill set. We need to have talent. We need to have ability. So if we have passion on its own, well, that's good. But if we don't have any skill, well, no one's going to hire us. No one is going to employ us, or no one's going to give us the responsibility of actually making an impact if we don't have some sort of tangible skill set. So this is where we need to then look at, well, what are we passionate about? And then how do we upgrade our skill set so that we can deliver impact, so we can come from a place of excellence, so we can deliver high quality service. So this is where we need to be an absolute master. We need to become masterful of what we do. Now, the only way we can become masterful of what we do is first of all have an attitude of ongoing excellence, of that we will just this hunger to be the best of what we do. Not from an egotistical point of view, but from a point of view of, hey, if I'm going to pick something to be good at, I want to be bloody good at it. I don't want to be mediocre. I want to be really good at it. So let's devote ourselves. Let's master our craft. Hey, Luke, how you doing, brother? Good to see you here. I'm looking forward to seeing you on Saturday at the NLP Masterclass. So yeah, we've got to have an attitude and a care factor of let's get really, really good at what we do. Now let's dive into that. How do you become really good at what you do? Well, there's some core principles in personal development that you're probably maybe or maybe not familiar with. Now, there's some really amazing and phenomenal trainings out there that help us to cultivate and, if you like, enhance our level of emotional intelligence, our level of cognitive ability, our level of our mental strategies, and the way that we think. So we've got to have an attitude of, I want to become the best. I want to become world class at what I do. When we have that attitude, we're able to serve to a high degree. We're able to be more productive. We're able to make more of an impact. And that means we can then match up our passion with our skill set, and that then comes together magically in whatever career, whatever business that we want to do. So they're the first two pillars of passion and skill. Now the third element is strategy. Now we've got to have the right strategy in business or in career, because if we don't have the right strategy, it's like heading east looking for a sunset. Okay? So you could be incredibly talented and skillful, you could have loads of passion, but if you're running the wrong strategy, boom, boom, no deal. So it doesn't matter how good you are, how passionate you are, if you haven't mastered the strategy of business, I understand branding, marketing, sales, operations, social media, Facebook advertising, etc., technology, innovation. If we haven't mastered all these other dimensions and got the right business strategy, marketing strategy, business planning, starting to make sure that we're communicating our value to the market, it's like a combination lock. None of those things will align. So this is where the strategy becomes critical. Now, the strategy is only a small part of it. The most important thing is your passion and your talent and your mindset, fundamentally mindset. Hey, Tom, yeah, this is the challenge. To bring all these pieces of the jigsaw puzzle together, to find out what the combination lock is, to get all those pieces aligning and to work seamlessly and to work efficiently, we need to have a degree of business acumen. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means we need to understand those major fundamental pillars of business. As I said before, you've got branding, you've got marketing, you've got online marketing, offline marketing, you've got sales, you've got prospecting strategy, you've got things like automation, you've got things like social media, you've got all sorts of things like automation, you've got operations and events, products, services, customer service. So there is a whole series of these categories that we need to master as a business owner or as a business person, and all these factors come together like pieces in a jigsaw puzzle. Now, if you're missing one of the pieces, depending on what industry you're in or what business you're in, that piece could be catastrophic. That piece could be the difference between having a profitable business or not a profitable business. So they're going running at a loss. So this is where we really need to understand, okay, well, what's the strategy that we need for our business or for our industry? Well, what does that mean? Well, for example, let's look at something like my business. So a strategy that works really well for my business, for example, is running events. When I run events, people show up. I get to communicate what it is that I do. Great, people are interested. I get leads, I get sales, and that sort of stuff. So running live events is a great business growth strategy. Now, equally, another great strategy is going to networking events. Now, again, the right industry, you need the right strategy. Again, so we need to start to think about, well, what's the industry that we're in? What are we selling? Who are we selling to? And we're going to make sure we're getting in front of the right audience. We've got to make sure we're pitching the right product. We've got to make sure that we're pitching the right price point. Because again, if any of those factors doesn't align, if we're pitching to the wrong people, if we're pitching at the right price point, the wrong price point, if we're pitching the wrong product, again, there's a mismatch. So again, this comes back to business growth strategy. Now, the fourth major pillar is relationships. So what do we mean by relationships? Well, relationships is where the game of business is won and lost. Everything in business is determined by relationships. So relationships comes down to things like emotional intelligence. Relationships comes down to our social skills. Relationships comes down to our ability to cultivate really strong partnerships, things like joint venture partnerships, strategic alliances, friendships, and developing trust, where people know this guy can be trusted, this person can be trusted. I'm going to now refer business to them. So this now ties into word of mouth referrals. This now ties into people approaching us and doing deals with us. I've just recently been approached by some people that are doing some cryptocurrency trading, and they're wanting me to partner with them to deliver some mindset training. So again, classic example of you put yourself out there, you communicate enough value, and eventually people see the value that you provide, and that's valuable to them. So they now offer you and they invite you to provide extra services. So again, relationships, we need to be cultivating those relationships and recognize that those partnerships, that's vital. And we need to be having as many irons in the fire and as many of those relationships going as possible, because all those relationships, all it takes is maybe one major relationship, and that can transform a business. For example, I've done some work with Mercedes-Benz. I've done some trainings over the years, and that all started with a relationship that I met the CFO of the business, cultivated a relationship, and then got my foot in the door with the training, running trainings. So again, never underestimate the power of relationships. Relationships are critical. Now, again, relationships is all about people. It's all about understanding human behavior. It's understanding psychology. It's understanding and developing social skills. So if you don't know people, you don't know business. I don't care who you are. If there's someone out there that says, I can be successful in business without being successful without how to deal with people, business success requires healthy relationships. It requires social skills. It requires cultivating a sense of trust and powerful relationships. Now, the fifth element is self-belief. Self-belief. So what do I mean by self-belief? Well, it means I need to have a degree of confidence. We need to have a degree of self-trust. We need to have a degree of unshakable faith in who we are and what we're here to do and what we're here to provide in this life. So, hey Dora, glad to hear you've mastered that one. So this fifth dimension, which is ultimately how we feel about ourselves and our sense of certainty in our future, that's going to determine the degree of success that we have. Because if we don't believe that we're going to be successful, this comes back to mindset, is if we don't believe in ourselves, or if we've got doubts about our future, all that means is we have got limiting beliefs about who we are and our ability. Or we've got limiting beliefs about our reality, or we've got limiting beliefs about business. So again, we've all been given the same hardware. We've all been given, as a human, fundamentally our DNA, it's all the same. Every single part of us is the same, right? So it's not like we can say, well, you've got different hardware than I've got in terms of our functional ability. Now, I can give you plenty of examples. There's 8-year-old kids that have started businesses. There are people with dyslexia. There are people that are mentally retarded that have started businesses. There's people that you can find people from all walks of life that have been successful, that have overcome so much adversity, right? There's people that have climbed Everest that don't have legs. So this whole idea about when we say, oh, I'm not gifted, or I'm not talented, or I lucked out in the gene pool, it's a crock of shit. And we know that it's a crock of shit because there's so many people that have been successful and they've started with nothing. And they had every disadvantage and they had every reason to give up, and they kept going. So much of this journey is about willpower. It's about self-belief. So while I've listed this as the fifth pillar of success in this aspect, it's probably the most important, because what we believe, we will actually manifest that. We will actually, whatever we believe, we'll create that. And as Henry Ford said, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you're right. So this is the reality of the situation: is beliefs act like this self-fulfilling prophecy system. They're a reaffirming, recycling, it's just this funny, bizarre system where what you believe you will create. That's just the way that the universe is wired. That's the way that human behavior is wired. Hey, Lauren. Yeah, I love it. So, they're the five major pillars. So now I just want to dive into answering some questions that relate to these, because I think this is going to serve, this is going to add a lot of value. So I got a question from Tom. Now, Tom asks, how do we build confidence around... Tom asks, what was the question, Tom? Here we go. How do I build good business habits? How do I build good habits of building business? All right, so let's start by assessing. That's a really good question. What we need to do is we need to check in and we need to say, rightio, well, based on our business model, based on the business that we're in or the career that we're in, what are the critical success factors? Well, what does that mean? Critical success factors are the categories within your business that move the needle the most. Right? So the critical success factors, you would brainstorm these, say, rightio, well, what are the dimensions or the categories within my business which, if I just did that all day long, would move the needle the most, would provide the greatest tangible financial impact in growing my business. Now, I can tell you right now, for most small business owners or most businesses in general, those categories are typically generally branding, marketing, and sales process. That's typically the fundamental pillars that drive most business success. Now, depending on where your business is in its life cycle, that's going to determine what are the categories that you need to focus on. So if you're generally within, again, most businesses, marketing and sales is paramount. They're the two most critical business categories that most business owners actually overlook. Most businesses are really, really good at what they do. They're great operators. They're great technicians. But when it comes to marketing and sales, they haven't taken any training courses. They don't understand the psychology of selling. They don't understand the psychology of marketing. They can't communicate to their market. So they've got this great product, their great service, which some of you may relate to, having great products, great services, maybe lots of ability, maybe lots of skill, and you've probably even got lots of passion for what you do. But because you haven't maybe accessed those dimensions of marketing and sales, the combination lock doesn't open. So the business growth doesn't scale. Because you need customers, and you need to attract customers, which is lead generation and marketing, but you then need to convert the sale, which is now sales process. So both of those are fundamental skills, and we need to cultivate those skills, we need to develop those skills in order to be successful in business. So if we can't market and we can't sell, we have no business. That's just a fact of business, that's just a fact of reality. So Tom, to answer your question, I would say that to get good habits around business building, we want to identify what are the key pillars of business success, and then actively develop skill sets in those areas to progressively move us ahead. So what I'd suggest you do there is you get clear on, well, what are your big, what I call your WIGs, your wildly important goals. And once you get clear on your wildly important goal, what's your big goal for your business? You can then chunk that down into what are the categories of your business that you need to focus on. Now, once you work out what the categories are, whether it be marketing, sales, maybe social media, maybe public speaking, maybe running workshops, maybe referral partnerships, whatever those categories are in your business, you need to then develop a plan and a strategy and now start to become excellent at those categories. So, for example, I'm just going to answer this question. Hey, Lauren, where do you sit on niching, especially starting out? Look, starting out, Lauren, niching it's a challenge to niche at the beginning because you don't have a specialist skill set and you don't necessarily know what you want to do. So I would say don't rush the decision of where to niche. I'd say date your niche, don't marry it. Be happy to explore as many different areas as you can. You can still promote yourself as a niche on certain websites, on certain platforms, but treat it as more of a dating rather than marrying situation. So going back to building your business, it's key to understand what are those critical success factors and then deciding, well, what are those parameters, what are those dimensions of your business that you need to focus on. Now, for me, for example, the critical success factors for my business right now are social media mastery. So what I'm doing right now is getting really good at social media, which is essentially presenting and speaking skills. Then also working on live events. So I am running live events around the country. So I'll be running lots and lots of events to getting people at my live events. And then lastly, it's going to be getting really, really good at ultimately well, obviously it's focusing on social media, it's live events, but then it's also presenting. So it really is about communication. It's about relationships. So for me, there's a few different factors that I've identified, which when I focus on those, that my business is going to exponentially grow. Now, for you guys, it's going to be different. It's going to be different for everyone, but it's recognizing, well, what are those critical success factors in your business, and not endeavoring to do everything, but saying, well, which of those, maybe one or two or three things do you want to focus on, which when you focus on it, applying the 80-20 rule, which is just a rule which says, that 20% of your activities are going to produce 80% of your results. Which of those can you leverage that's going to scale your business faster than if you focused on anything else? So again, for me, social media is one of those things I identify very, very early on. If I master social media, I can get my name out there. I can leverage my marketing, and I can leverage my sales exponentially greater. So that's a key point that I just wanted to raise there for you, Tom. I also just wanted to go down to the next question you had, Tom, which was you get distracted and bogged down in details and lose momentum. So look, a lot of business owners, hey Matt, good to see you there, mate. A lot of business owners can relate to that. And if you guys can relate to getting distracted or getting bogged down in the detail, give me a shout out, because this is a common thing that many business owners experience. I've experienced this before, and it's a common trap. It happens a lot. Now, there's a simple way to approach this. Now, when we get distracted, there's so many reasons when we get distracted. Right? Again, it comes down to being focused. We've got to focus on what we want and go for it, and say no to a lot of other stuff. So it's not about doing everything. It's about deselecting and minimizing and eliminating the stuff that doesn't add value, and focusing on what are the high value tasks that we need to do in order to move our business forward. So for example, you would focus on what are the highest value tasks I need to get through this week to scale my business. So what you need to do is you need to get very clear on what are the priorities, what are the categories, what are the key critical success factors, and then schedule those in your calendar so they become a non-negotiable. So you basically use your calendar, and I recommend everyone here uses your calendar to your advantage, and you schedule those activities in your calendar almost like a dentist appointment. So you lock them in. It's like that becomes a non-negotiable. So for me, for example, my social media strategy is a non-negotiable. So I have a meeting every Sunday with my team, and we go through our social media strategy. Now that's a 2-hour block of time that we go through where it becomes non-negotiable. Even if I'm doing stuff, even if I'm busy, that becomes a 2-hour block of time where I'm not skipping that, because that's probably the most critical part of my business planning is on a Sunday at that time. So the same thing for you is identify, well, what's that critical success factor for your business? And then how do you block out time consistently, either on a daily or a weekly basis, where you constantly hit that? And that becomes a standard. It becomes a mindset thing where you schedule that away in your calendar, and nothing gets in the way of you prioritizing that. And that's a mindset factor. That's deciding that this mission matters so much to you that you're not going to let anything derail that. You're not going to let anything derail you. Now, again, coming back to distractions, there are some really simple things you can do to help you avoid distractions. Number one being turn off notifications on your phone. Now, when I turned off most of my notifications, my productivity just literally doubled or quadrupled, tripled, because I was getting distracted so often. Can you guys relate? You're on your phone, an email comes in, something, you get a message, someone likes your thing on Facebook, and you go, oh, cool, let's quickly check that out. Whatever you're doing, completely gone. You get completely distracted. So when you turn off notifications, when you avoid distractions, Brian Tracy International, they've done research on this, and they've found that your efficiency goes up by 500% when you're not distracted. So turn off notifications, put your phone on silent, literally close the door, make sure you're in your absolute most focused, heightened state of awareness and attention, and just declare, I am not going to check my email. I'm not going to get drawn into distraction. I'm going to go for this because this matters. But it starts with mindset. It starts by saying, no, this is so important. I'm not going to let anyone distract me from my mission, from my purpose, from creating the life of my dreams. You're welcome, Tom. So look, I'm going to touch on productivity and performance next week, because that's the theme for next week. But right now, I just wanted to touch on the second question, which is around, this is from Shelley. Shelley asks how to build confidence around automation and Facebook advertising. Now, some of you this may relate. So if any of you guys are actually looking to get the edge when it comes to social media, Facebook advertising and automation, drop a comment there and let me know if this resonates. Because so Facebook advertising, it's obviously something that I'm using now. Now I have a designated Facebook advertising specialist that works for me in my business. Jared, if you're there, good to see you there, brother. Anyway, Jared is my Facebook marketing strategist. He's an absolute weapon, a guru. He knows his shit. Like, he is world class at Facebook advertising. Now, I used to do my own Facebook advertising, but now since I've scaled my business and grown my business, I now have an expert who is world class, who knows their stuff. So I get him to do all my Facebook stuff. So my point is this. You want to, look, I appreciate if you're in a smaller business where you're not in a position to basically employ someone to do your Facebook ads for you, you've got to do a lot of the learning yourself. Now, again, yes, hey, Karen, yeah, Jared's an absolute legend. So for those of you that, that recognize that you're maybe not in a position, or maybe you are, look, if you are in a position, or if you think you might be in a position to take someone and do Facebook ads for you, it's well worth it. It's well worth the investment, because every dollar that you spend on Facebook ads, and this is the same for online marketing in general, for every dollar you're spending, it's ROI. You're getting back multiple dimensions, multiple percentages of return on investment. Otherwise, you simply don't do it. So this is the thing. You've got to recognize that it is a return on investment. In the same way as hiring a coach is a return on investment. Every dollar you invest, according to the International Coaching Federation, the return on investment for a coach is 7-to-1 in terms of the return on investment. So we need to recognize that some of these things, it's worth hiring someone. Now, we're not always in a position to hire someone. Now, if you're not in a position to hire someone, then what you've got to do is you've got to go back and you've got to learn it yourself, up until the point where you get your business, or you either invest in yourself, you get some funds to invest in scaling your business. So this comes down to the degree of all in that you are in how much you want this for your business. Because for most people, they're willing to invest, $500,000, $1 million in buying a house, but you ask them, well, how much are you willing to invest in yourself in creating a business? Not the same degree. So for some reason, as a society, we've been conditioned into thinking that it's okay to just borrow a heap of money for a house, but when it comes to a business, too risky, not interested. So again, we need to check in with our mindset and recognize, hang on, is there limiting beliefs going on? Have we got any doubts? Have we got any internal junk we need to move through that's preventing us from investing in scaling our business? So that's another important thing. So Shelley, to bring it back to automation, I would say the first thing there is going to be mindset, in terms of recognizing whereabouts is our mindset sabotaging us in terms of either lack of motivation or lack of commitment in terms of like putting either resources or investing. But I think secondly, it comes back to skill. It comes back to, we need to decide and declare we want to master something. We need to decide, great, maybe Facebook advertising is a skill set that you need to learn. So again, it's identifying, well, who are the major thought leaders? What are the training courses, and what are the practical applications of that skill that you need to cultivate to learn? Now, if you're wanting some more suggestions on that, I can put you in touch with my Facebook team, and they can certainly provide you some tips and some suggestions. There's a heap of other amazing things in terms of innovation and automation, like things like chatbots. You guys have probably started to see some chatbots pop up here and there. Now, again, that's something that I'm now starting to experiment with, is incorporating chatbots. Looking at automated email marketing, all this sort of stuff. This is stuff we've simply got to be considering. With the advances in technology, with AI, we simply got to keep all this stuff on the dashboard of our mind and stay educated and stay relevant, because all this technology is increasing so exponentially rapidly. We've got to keep our finger on the pulse. So again, we need to have an attitude of constant and never-ending improvement, constantly learning, constantly investing in ourselves. Now again, to give you some benchmarks, as a minimum, I spend an hour every day learning, as a minimum, an hour every day. Now again, this relates back to the allocation or the priority of building a business. If you're not spending an hour a day at least on either your business, on growing your business, or learning about growing your business, then straight away you're behind the 8 ball. I'm sorry, but you're literally falling behind. We simply must schedule in time for learning about business growth and make that a non-negotiable, because when we consistently stay ahead of the curve, that's how we're able to remain successful, remain competitive. Hey Tom, yeah, Jared is a super weapon. He's a secret weapon. So guys, this is the other thing. You also want to have people that are contributing to your business that you can trust them. You just know that you've got people there that you can rely on, that are going to help you scale your business. So we shouldn't have to be doing anything alone. Like if I had to grow my business on my own, I'd be screwed. I'm going to be completely honest. There's that much stuff to learn. There's that many like Facebook ads, marketing strategies, sales training, there's so many dimensions of mastery. And this is the thing, like it is kind of getting easier. Like there's never been an easier time in the history of the world to own and run a business. But at the same time, there's so many complexities and there's so many subtleties in technology, and things are changing so rapidly that we've got to be across so many different dimensions. So it also pays to have lots of people, lots of consultants or people that you can go to, like you go to secret weapons, super weapons in your business that you go to get suggestions, go to get advice. So other things we can consider are things like Facebook groups, online communities, being part of learning environments where we can get drip fed all the key content that we need. And a classic example is recently I've been doing a lot of study around Facebook, around Instagram, even started not really on LinkedIn yet, but starting to develop, okay, well, cool, let's start studying and assessing LinkedIn as a platform. So again, I'm now having to learn so many different areas. But again, as I grow my business, I'm going to then be able to bring in an Instagram specialist. I'm going to then I've obviously brought in a Facebook specialist. I can now bring in probably a LinkedIn specialist soon. I can bring in an events manager. So again, as you grow your business, you're able to then bring in a team and build a team around you. But obviously, until you get to that point, we have to be a jack of all trades. We have to actually kind of do that all ourselves. And yes, I think I just got your comment there, Lauren. There are so many dimensions, and this is where it can be challenging. And I get it. For a lot of business owners, there's so many different dimensions, so many hats that we've got to wear. Now, the thing is, there's a lot of different approaches, right? You can go to someone who can give you general advice, like for example, a business coach, someone like myself, where you can kind of get advice on your mindset. You can break through your limitations. You can obviously get insights from social media, networking, sales strategy, all that sort of stuff. So you can employ someone who is a generalist that can give you all of those general strategies. Now, to the next degree, you then can hire and recruit specialists that now have really, 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 really deep, inch wide but mile deep, really niched expertise. So again, it really depends on your business model. It depends on what you need. And it really depends as well as where you're at in terms of your mindset. So there's lots of things to consider. But yes, I know what you're going through in terms of feeling like you need to put on so many different hats and learn so many different factors and so many different dimensions of business. Now, this is the other thing, is there's so many businesses that are going through the same thing. Like, it's challenging, it's tough. There's so many things to learn. And that emotional toughness, that emotional resilience, that self-belief, that's critical. We've got to stand guard at the door of our mind and on a daily basis start to reaffirm our belief system, start to remind it, like generate motivation. We've got to be our own best friend. We've got to inspire ourselves. Because some days the only good thing we're going to hear about us is what we tell ourselves. That's the reality. We can't always rely on getting motivation from others or other people saying nice things about us, right? So we have to stand guard at the door of our mind. We have to be the one that's going to champion ourselves, and we've got to be the one that takes responsibility for all the dimensions of our business's success. Hey, Shelley. Yeah, I think outsourcing is incredibly important. And even if it's just outsourcing the stuff that, it's really assessing where is your time best spent. Now, for me recently, I've just taken on a personal assistant. Now, my personal assistant takes on everything that's not outside of my core, right? So anything that I don't have to be doing, I now have an assistant who's taking on all of that stuff for me. So now I can now focus 100% of my focus and my energy and my attention to the core of my business. So again, if you're in a position where you can now start to outsource, you can get a virtual PA, maybe you can even get some interns, you can get some people around your business to sort of contribute to your business. That's going to help you focus on your core, which then means you can grow faster, you can grow exponentially, because you're now not focusing on doing the nitty gritty, the unskilled stuff. You can now outsource and delegate that. So that's another key factor to consider, is where is your time going, and what's the effective hourly rate, your effective hourly charge out rate. This is an important variable that every business owner needs to know. You need to know what your effective hourly charge out rate because if you're doing a task, you could employ someone for, say for example, if your effective charge out rate was $100 an hour, right? Now, if you're doing something where you could hire someone to do for $20 an hour, then you've really got to hire someone to do that, so that it frees you up to spend more time earning $100 an hour. So this is a key principle on leverage. This is a fundamental that every business owner needs to be aware of, because if we're now spending time doing the low value tasks that we could employ someone else or delegate or outsource, that's costing us. That's costing our business time. That's delaying our growth, but it's also costing us focusing on the things that move the needle the most. Hey, Shelley. Yeah, nice one. All right, guys, I'm just mindful of time. How are we doing for time? Yeah, I'm gonna wind it up there, guys. But thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I trust that I've added some value there to you guys, Tom and Shelley. Let us know if there's any other questions there, guys. Look, thank you guys for tuning in. Please send through any of your other questions. I'm always here to answer whatever questions you guys have got. So whatever challenges you've got around mindset, business, how to grow a business, and all the challenges in between, please send me a question. I'm always happy to help you guys out, because I know how friggin' hard it is to grow a business. I've been through the trenches, and I know what it's like when you're first starting out, and also know what it's like when you're up and running and then keeping the train running. So, hey Lauren, hey Dora, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I look forward to speaking to you guys again next Tuesday for Next Transformation Tuesday. For some of you guys, I'll see you in Melbourne. I'm coming to Melbourne on Saturday to run my NLP Masterclass. This is going to be epic. So for those that are coming to that, you're going to get the download. You're going to get with a full deep dive on how to hack your consciousness, how to transform your mindset, and you're in for a real treat, because I'm going to be delivering some content that I have never delivered before. So you guys are in for a real treat. Hey Shelley, you're welcome. Anyway, guys, wishing you a beautiful, amazing, fantastic rest of your week. And I look forward to you guys tuning in and catching up with you guys again soon for Next Transformation Tuesday. As always, lots of love for you guys. Wishing you all the best. Speak soon. See you guys.